Welcome back, everybody. This is Rodrigo Fondor with Astral Real Estate News. This is episode number 44. Really excited to finally bring this to you. If you're listening to this, I want to remind you that on the first Monday of June, we're going to be hosting our second Astral Real Estate News meetup. Hope you can make it. We'll have a little link below so you can kind of RSVP and let us know if you're coming. It's over there at Habitat Brewing. And yeah, really hope to see you guys there. We can put some names and faces together. It'd be fun to meet everybody in person. Today, though, we are talking about photography and real estate. And as you know, this is a digital world that we live in. And so we're going to get some nuggets on how to apply that and take advantage of photography to use the internet and use pictures to help buyers and sellers come together. So I'm joined today with Adam Duff, and super excited to have you here, man.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's crazy how connected we are in the world. Talking about the digital world, we connected off of Instagram.
Absolutely.
And I think it kind of just goes to show the importance of, being able to be online and have a good presence, right?
Absolutely. There are so many, people now online, and even agents marketing on Instagram, selling houses through Facebook. So, social media, it's becoming it's a force.
Yeah, it really is. I know we have put a lot of energy and effort into trying to be out there and be constant, on Facebook, Instagram, etc. And I've noticed that on the houses that we're working with, we always work with good photographers and things like that, and have always just done it because, our agent says, do it. And we're like, okay, you know best. So, but what about from your perspective? What have you seen? Like, what is the twist on working with a photographer?
Well, one of the most important things to realize if you're an agent is that professional photography is actually part of your brand. So when you are on a listing appointment and you're trying to get the seller to use you, it's something that you can say, hey, look, I use professional photography for every listing. Right. Here's my photographer's website. This is the that will do for your house. So it really becomes important as part of your brand. But also, it's such a digital world now. Photography, photos, they're basically the new curb appeal. People don't drive around looking for houses as much as they do. Everyone's shopping online. So your photos are what you have to sell. That's your most powerful tool, your most powerful weapon for selling a house.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now you're looking, just clicking through listings on the internet, and then you stop at a picture that catches your eye.
What a lot of people do is they just stand in the driveway and they take a shot, whether if it's a professional photographer, if it's with your iPhone,
whatever the case is, yeah.
But if you just come and kind of get the face of the house more, you kind of have a little bit of an eye for the architecture or the landscaping. So if you could just kind of change the perspective and make it a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, it works wonders. Also, images like Twilight Images, those really striking ones with the cool skies, that gets people to stop and really look.
Well, we live in the mountains here in Nashville, so there's a lot of opportunity to use that natural appeal, right? Talking about that, we're in Nashville here, but are you from Nashville? Like, how did you end up here in town?
So, not originally from Nashville. I'm from Ohio originally, but I've been in Tampa, Florida for about the last 15 years. Started my photography business down there. It's still rolling. I've got a team of great photographers down there rolling. And I just wanted to get out of Florida. I've always loved Asheville, so I moved up here, opened the business up here, and now we're rolling in a couple different places.
That's super exciting. You said you've been doing the photography in Tampa for 15 years, right? Did I get that correct? Or you've been living
I've been
in
there
Tampa?
for 15 years, yeah. I've had my business now this is my 5th year full-time.
Okay, super exciting. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
That's a big milestone.
Yeah, thanks.
What were you doing before photography, and why photography?
Completely 180, but
Yeah.
I was a wildlife biologist. Living out and working in the wilderness, there's so many great opportunities for photography. So I just sort of, I've always had a passion for it. I learned in a film camera in a dark room years and years ago. So I've sort of stayed with it as it's gone into digital and kept up with all the new fun gear and fun stuff. Yeah. And then liked it enough to make it my job.
And what was that transition? And I mean, specifically houses, if you've been spending time in nature, it's like, I'm going to go get closed in and, do everything inside.
Well, if you are a professional photographer, it's everyone's dream to just sort of work for National Geographic and photograph beautiful landscapes all day.
Right.
But the reality is that's not really where the money is. Mm-hmm. So commercial photography, real estate photography, those sort of things, it's a legitimate business. There's a need for it. And to be honest, the more that I learned about it years ago, the more I enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. There's a psychology to real estate photography. Right. There's techniques that you use in that specific type of photography that really you don't use anywhere else. You can composite images. It's really an art form. Yeah. So now, if I had a choice, I would probably still do architecture and interior photography. It's great.
Yeah. No, I know that. Like anything, once you get into it and you start exploring and understanding any topic, that the ripple effect of how far that knowledge really is. It's
right.
like. Is there any inside the iPhone or any apps that you can do to like maximize that a little bit or squeeze a little bit more quality out of it?
Typically on the iPhones, and I don't know for Androids, there's an HDR function, which means high dynamic range. So that what it'll do is inside the phone, it'll take a couple different images from light to dark and sort of put them together. So it does help a little bit if you have a really bright window in a really dark room. If you are strictly working with an iPhone, I'd say try to expose for the room and don't worry about the window. There's no way that you're going to capture those nice photos of the room lighting, with the view in the background with an iPhone. It just doesn't work like that. It's a computer. But I would say just try to get the room lit up, and that's your best bet.
Have you had any like just crazy houses that you've been able to see?
Oh yeah, I've run the gamut. I've been in $6-7 million properties that are incredible, and I've shot $20,000 properties that have had burn holes in the walls.
Right.
And, it's crazy, but yeah, I've run the gamut and I've seen it all.
I want to go back to something you said earlier about this being part of a listings agent's presentation. If I'm a seller, should I be concerned if the agent I'm talking to hasn't referenced professional photography?
To have a professional photographer for a listing. I would be concerned if you were talking to a real estate agent that was out of the realm of possibilities. It's actually very affordable, and it's something that really is going to sell your home a lot faster. Right. It's going to get a lot more people to see your home. It's going to get a lot more showings. So that's something to really consider if you are a seller, to really look at someone who's going to use a professional photographer, or even get one on your own.
No, yeah, that would make sense. How many pictures come out of a house? I mean, I know it varies on the size, but let's just say 1,500 square foot, 3-bed, 2-bath. Kind of cookie cutter, if you will?
So I'll give you an example. Today I just did a shoot. It was around 2,200 square feet, and I think I ended up with around 65 photos. That's on the heavier end of things. We did aerial stuff with the drone. We did there was a lot of exterior stuff that we took photos of, different decks. But anywhere between that 40 and 60 photos for a house that size is usually pretty typical. In this state, realtors are allowed to put, I think it's 34 or 36 photos inside the MLS. So I always try to give them at least that plus a little more. If they're gonna put 36 photos in, it's good to have 40, 45 photos. If the seller or the agent doesn't really like one of the photos, they've got some choice.
Switch them out or whatnot.
Right.
Yeah. Have you found that personally that you know of, like your pictures have made a difference? Like,
oh yeah.
Have you had that validation moment where you're like, yes, I am doing well?
Absolutely. I've got agents that have had properties listed for months, and then as soon as we pop the new photos in there, they'll get showings, and I've had them sell in 24 hours.
Wow.
Or under contract in 24 hours.
That must be great for everybody involved, but it must be cool to be like, the handiwork, right?
Yeah, it's a good feeling to know that you sort of helped and just see your work out there actually working.
Yeah, no doubt. Cool, man. Well, thanks again so much for coming on. It's been definitely, I've picked up a couple of things, a lot of, like I said, a lot of the pictures we do sometimes are for like rental properties and just like the HDR setting. That's good to keep in mind. I just was interested to know if you had to pick one photo to sell a house though, what would it be? Would you go interior, exterior?
Arguably, the exterior photo is probably the most important photo because that's what you have to put on MLS. Right. That's what's going to get people to look at your listing. But the heart of the home is really the kitchen and the living area. So those are incredibly important as well. Right. So usually I spend a lot more time photographing the kitchen and the living areas from different angles. But yeah, that exterior photo, that's the one that's going to get them in there.
So even if you weren't putting it on the MLS, you'd still go with the exterior over an interior photo?
It's whatever photo is going to drive them to look at the listing more. So if you don't have to put it on MLS and you've got an amazing kitchen, every house has a different selling point. Every house has a different heart of the home. Right. And that's what you want to focus on. So whatever that magic part of that house is.
So follow-up question on that, because now I'm very curious about this. How do you personally find that in each house?
I think it just takes an eye. So I kind of walk in with the mind frame of a buyer. What would sell this home? When you walk into a home, a lot of times it's surrounded by people's personal things and there's stuff everywhere, and it's easy to get distracted. But you got to remember, it's what you're selling. It's basically a commodity. Right. You're selling a house. So you just try to think of it like a marketing agent. What does this house have to offer? If I was a buyer, what would I like in this house? What do I like in this house? Right. So that's the kind of eyes that I go into a shoot with. And you can usually tell. You walk in, it's the first thing, you're kind of like, wow, that's cool. So then you kind of
take it from there.
Take it from there.
Very cool. Well, what's the best way for people to connect with you and see some of your work? I know I had a really good